Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speedway Report for July the 20th, 2020. I'm your host, Patrick Reynolds, and we're running our second show, so to speak, of the night. We just did a live show Eastern Time from 7:30 to 8. We were on live. There's Paul McKeever joining us. Hey, Paul, how you doing? There's Jillian. Jillian's here. Hey, how are you? Got a few other people hopping on as well. We did a show, and Facebook has given us so much trouble lately with our broadcasts that, well, it's been tough. I don't know why. We've got like new laptops, new equipment, and just trying to get everything connected. And I'm watching it now, and I have no idea why it's working now. Yet it wasn't working about 30 minutes ago because it came on. Everything was good and dandy, and we were rolling. You guys hear me okay? Paul says okay. Jillian says hey. Yep, I see a few other of my peeps joining in and say hello as well. Yeah, we just did a show, 30 minutes on Eastern Time, 7:30 to 8, roughly. Yeah, and everything was going okay. But what I do is, just so you get an idea what I do, is just, I got all the information in front of me, and I'm not watching. I can't really watch you guys during the show. I don't know what happens to it. I don't know why Facebook just eats it up and spits it out. But let's do, you know what? Let's do take number 2 of this thing. I'll give you guys something to chat about here a little bit. Then I'll go try to see if I can find the original version of this show. Because there is a, whatever, usually 25, 20-minute show. It's out there. And it's out there in the interwebs somewhere in space right now. But let's talk about what's going on or what happened over the weekend, and I'll try to reproduce the show in my head right now for you guys to see, because I want you to see a show. I appreciate all the support you guys give us. Let's hit on over the Speedway Report Victory Lane Lap. I'll tell you who won what over the weekend. NASCAR was in Fort Worth, Texas over the weekend. The Cup race yesterday was won by the Silver Spoon Kid himself, Austin Dillon. NASCAR's Xfinity Series raced Saturday in Fort Worth, Texas. Kyle Busch crossed the line first. He was disqualified for a body height infringement. That gave the win to Austin Cindric. That makes 3 in a row in the Xfinity Series for Cindric. Kyle Busch had a little bit of redemption as he won the truck race in Fort Worth following the Xfinity Series race. NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour did not have an event over the weekend, but some really good news came out of the sanctioning body today that they will be racing on August 29th at Monadnock, New Hampshire. So please, if you're around the neighborhood, head on over to Monadnock, New Hampshire, August 29th for the Modified Tour. They haven't had enough events this year, so they could use the support and the racers. IndyCar had a doubleheader in Iowa. Friday night, Simon Pagenaud ran 250 laps from the back to the front. Shotgun to the win on Friday night in the first 250 lapper. They ran the second 250 on Saturday night. Joseph Newgarden did not like the way things went on Friday, so he buried them on Saturday night. From the pole position, led over 200 of the 250 laps. That was his race. He was pissed on Friday, made up for it on Saturday. Formula One raced in Hungary yesterday. Lewis Hamilton won. We're going to talk a lot more about that in a little bit. IMSA raced Saturday night in Sebring, Florida. Not the 12 hours, but just an abbreviated event. I think they did the 240 short version for the sports cars. Pipo Derani and Felipe Nasser won in a Cadillac. The 12 hours will be run this fall, but it was nice to have them going around Sebring. Historic place. I thought it was pretty cool. NHRAs, gosh, these poor guys. Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, and Pro Stock Motorcycle. Final rounds all got rained out in Indianapolis. We do not have a winner in any category, including a lot of the sportsman classes. They'll all be running and finishing up as part of U.S. Nationals weekend in Indiana over Labor Day weekend. So we're going to have a whole lot of winners come out of the U.S. Nationals this year. Lucas Oil Late Models raced Friday night in Granite City, Illinois, where Tyler Erb won the A main, and then they went over to Wheatland, Missouri for the weekend. The annual Show Me 100 was taken by Peyton Looney. Usually a 3-day event over Memorial Day weekend and 30 grand to win. Adjusted for COVID-19, it was a 1-day event, 20 grand to win. Looney's still cashing the check. Not a bad deal at all. Last night at Wheatland, they ran the Diamond Nationals. Chris Ferguson was your main winner. World of Outlaw late models were way up north in West Fargo, North Dakota. Darrell Lanigan won on Saturday night, and last night in Grand Forks, Brandon Shepard was your winner. World of Outlaw sprints, goodness, they were in Attica, Ohio last Tuesday for the Brad Doty Classic. I'll give you 3 guesses who won, and the first 2 don't count. If you said Kyle Larson, you didn't win much money at all because he's even money now, pretty much with the Vegas odds. But he's just setting them up and knocking them down in sprint car racing. Grandson of Joe Gibbs, Ty, won the ARCA race in Iowa. And the USAC Midgets, they're way out in Nebraska, in Fairbury on Friday night, where Chris Wyndham was your winner. And on Saturday night, they also raced in Fairbury. Tyler Courtney, he won there. Keep with me here. The tour goes to Candy, Kansas last night. Tyler Courtney is your winner again. Mike Goulart won the small block modified feature at Grandview, Pennsylvania. And since we were on the air last week, the announcement came from the Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem that there will be no racing in Mudville for 2020. The way we are with our orders here out of Raleigh, North Carolina, is that the phases we are in for COVID-19 quarantine puts us in this phase until early August. The Bowman Gray Stadium is shared with the NASCAR races and the Winston-Salem State University. The NASCAR racing has to be done about a week before Labor Day weekend so the stadium and the school can prepare for the football season. This puts the Bowman Gray Stadium season on a couple 3-week race, potentially at all. The stadium, owned by the municipality of Winston-Salem, decided to pull the plug, so it's kind of sad. But if you're here in the Southeast, in the Carolinas and Virginia, you might want to pay attention because I think they're inviting folks stadium nights with those cars, those rules being enforced, and we can have a Bowman Gray Stadium sort of goes on the road. Franklin County Speedway in Virginia did that, just that over the weekend. Car counts were not spectacular, however. The racing, I think, was pretty good, so I'm looking for maybe a Speedway if they get opened up because they got on Governor Cooper's radar. But anyway, maybe we can get some paved tracks here in the Carolinas to at least welcome the stadium guys in. Let's talk about the weekend a little bit. I'm going to roll back over to Facebook, see. Yeah, look at that. I'll be darned. Gosh, you guys are staying with me tonight. And it's not even just you guys, it's Facebook, because it's really a mystery to me as to why we are or not on the air. I don't know. It's totally baffling my mind. I'm glad you're still with me. We'll talk about the NASCAR Texas weekend. It was threatened over the weekend with a rise in COVID-19 cases. Now, it was just a rumor. I reported it as a rumor, and the race went off, fortunately, as expected. There were no fans allowed in Saturday's doubleheader with the Xfinity or the Truck Series, but they were allowed in for the Cup Series. I'm going to estimate there are, come from Eddie Gossage, he estimated about 20,000 people were at Texas Motor Speedway. Plenty of room to social distance in that massive grandstand. When Texas Motor Speedway contacted their ticket holders about what you wanted to do with your tickets, many of them feared COVID-19. Fair enough. If that's your choice, you want to stay home. It was too hot. Okay, you can do that and stay home. Anybody remember, like me, back in 97 when this place opened up and you could not shoehorn another person in there? All those massive grandstands and those, it's so easy to social distance. I don't think they had to set a real cap limit on the fans because that's how many showed up. It's really weak now compared to what we were doing 20, 25 years ago, but it is what it is. Easy to social distance with COVID-19 when you're not selling that many tickets anyway. I don't think there was a lid on the tickets like Bristol, the All-Star race last Wednesday that Chase Elliott won. I think it was 30,000 tickets were available. 20 or 25,000 were sold. They had more. They could social distance it. I don't even think that came into play at Texas because the crowd was literally that small. In the comments, I got a couple polls and questions for you guys tonight if you want to chime in on Facebook. Does Kyle Busch's disqualification, or I guess should his disqualification be that tight on inspection? What do you guys think? We're talking laser tenths, thousandths of an inch. Those bodies move. We're running jack bolts during the race. I think this is a complaint that race fans have over general crew chiefs and the sport in general, how we're too much like IROC. The teams and the crew chiefs have no room to work. The box is so tight, and then we wind up having disqualifications through inspection because body measurements are just razor thin that you can't really go on the boundaries of that. Now, I'm in favor of disqualifications. I just don't believe anybody cheated here. It's real easy to get these bodies out of tolerance when they run around that track in the air at 200 miles per hour. If you're cheating and you don't pass inspection, I believe in the disqualification and move the legal cars up one spot. That's where you give wins to. I believe in that. But just these body measurements where we're laser measuring stuff, not how I grew up. I'd like to see a little bit more ingenuity, but that means loosening up inspection and technical procedures. What do you guys think? You'll let me know. This downforce package, why don't we loosen it up? I mean, the racing at Texas, well, it kind of sucks. As most downforce racing does, those 1.5 mile, 2 mile tracks, they blow. No wonder the grandstands are empty. It's one of the many reasons. But yeah, this type of racing is not a fan. I'm not a fan of it at all. Are you a fan of Quin Houff? He made some waves with Denny Hamlin and Matt DiBenedetto yesterday trying to get onto pit road. There's a lot of championship and race-winning drivers that made some foolish moves when they were a rookie. It happens. Even though this one, yeah, it was pretty bad. It messed up the two win-contending cars yesterday. Poll number 2 for you guys in the comments tonight. Should Quin Houff be in a Cup car? Is he talented enough? Does he belong there where he's good enough but needs to learn? Or is he in over his head? Tell me what you think about Quin Houff. I really want to jump away from the TV and onto streaming. We watched the race. We all watched the race yesterday, NBCSN, the Texas race. Now you're familiar. You probably saw ads for the Peacock streaming service by NBC. That's their mascot, little Peacock there, been their way for years. There is a great new show on the streaming service. Let's talk about Lost Speedways and the connections it has here with Speedway Report and, above all, Racers Reunion, right where this show began. The Racers Reunion Radio Network. What's our internet radio? Well, before the term podcast was coined, internet radio was born, and Racers Reunion was one of the leaders in that area. And it came from racersreunion.com. Just what the name implies, let's find these old tracks that are rotting away and let's have a reunion. Let's bring in old cars, let's bring in old drivers, and celebrate the history of a track. Celebrate the history of stock car racing or whatever was racing there. Well, I have a love for that, and I hate seeing tracks torn up. I've known Matt Dillner for many years, and you all, some of you probably know Matt, and others probably are more familiar with his brother Bob, who's on the other side of the camera. You've seen him on a lot of broadcasts for many years. Well, this was a labor of love for Matt Dillner. He had a Facebook page years ago called Lost Speedways, and you may be more familiar with the term that the guys on the GOAT Rodeo used, Coastal Jack and Tim Leeming, called ghost tracks. They're pretty much a footprint or rotting carcass of what a speedway, an active speedway, used to be. Sometimes they're overgrown, dilapidated, falling down, and it's just like a skeleton of the speedway there. Matt Dillner has just had a labor of love and began chronicling ghost tracks, or in his term, lost speedways. Photos, video, just some history of the tracks. And just because out of his passion and love for auto racing, Matt has collected a whole lot of history on these tracks. He has worked as a subcontractor in television production for years. During one of the recent off seasons, he found his way over to Dirty Mo Media and began working with Dale Earnhardt Jr. If you're a regular watcher of Dale Jr.'s Download, Matt is a producer on there, and he's part of the show each week. And it's a lot of fun, great personality, and a tremendous passion and love for the sport of auto racing. Now, he had to keep it quiet, but Lost Speedways is now streaming on the Peacock network. And the host is Dale Earnhardt Jr. And this was the brainchild of Matt Dillner. And I'm so happy for Matt and thrilled that this project of his actually come to life. There's something really cool about watching Dale Jr. and Richard Petty and Matt Dillner walk along through the woods in an area that used to be a racetrack and pay history to a speedway where there once was there. So head to the Peacock network. I guess it's Peacock streaming. It's an online service. It is free. I already signed up. I have not watched the season yet, but season 1 of Lost Speedways is out. It's 8 episodes. Your email and a password, sign up and be part of this streaming service. And one of our Racers Reunion graduates, well, so to speak, Cody Dismore, who's a historian of Georgia racing history, is a contributor to the show. He was part of the Goat Rodeo on Racers Reunion Network since he was a teenager. I don't know if he's 30 yet, but he's got to be at least in his 20s. But he's a huge historian, knows a lot about Georgia racing, and is a contributor to the show as well. And is not just stock car racing in the South, but they do sprint car and midget racing in the Midwest. They explore some different tracks around the country. Season 1, 8 episodes. Give it a lot of love. Hopefully there'll be a season 2 because there's a whole lot of lost speedways or ghost tracks that we need to chronicle and keep the history alive of where they are, what they used to be. So get your account ready. Go to Peacock, get the streaming service. Not right now, when Speedway Report is over. And then check out Lost Speedways that Dale Jr. hosts. Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton. Wow. Did you see it in Hungary yesterday? Lewis Hamilton has such a lead, huge lead, that with about 5 laps left in the race, he can pit out of the lead, take 4 tires, come back on the track, and still hold the lead. Why? Just so he could have 4 fresh tires to set the fastest lap of the race to get that extra world championship point as he tries to win another F1 title. When you've got that big of a lead and you can stop in for 4 tires, keep the lead for the sole reason of gaining that extra point, that is just bitch slapping the field. Hamilton had his way with everybody yesterday. Now, as bad as he beat everyone, I'm going to say one of the drives of the day, oh my goodness, Max Verstappen. He crashes his car on the way to the grid in the rain, locks it up, sends the left front, damages the left front into the wall, the nose cone, pulls back around, and on the grid, the team from Red Bull fixes the car on the racetrack on the grid. And when they go to racing, the red lights go out, and Verstappen just kept his right foot planted and sent it. He was in 3rd place by the second corner, and he winds up 2nd place on the podium after crashing the car. No practice, no testing. He's got to put all his faith in the Red Bull guys. They do it. They knock it out of the park. Hell of a drive by Max Verstappen in Hungary on Sunday. A few other items to button up this week in the abbreviated show as we try to do an off-the-cuff one, take 2, so to speak. I was in communication with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this morning. They are limiting media attendance for the event. They're still working out procedures for social distancing. Not everybody is going to be allowed to go. One of my favorite weekends of the year. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. They don't know yet, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I will be at the Indy 500 again. However, this weekend I'll be in Marion, Illinois for the High Banks Hustle at the Southern Illinois Raceway for CC racers. You like some open door racing and some wing sprint car action? Come find me at Southern Illinois Raceway in Marion this weekend. Can't wait to see all of you there. You see the logos on my shirt? Just pull me over, say hello. I'd love to meet you if you're in Southern Illinois. And what coulda, woulda been? Well, we could have been talking about the Kings Royal at the Eldora Speedway that took place this past weekend. It did not because of COVID-19, but that is a bucket list week for me. Obviously won't happen this year. Southern Illinois Raceway will have to do. Maybe the Kings Royal in 2021. For the Speedway Report Racer of the Week, I'm going to hat tip to Dave Despain. one of my idols, but I'm gonna give it to not a winner as far as the checkered flag goes, but as a guy that offered the auto racing world a hell of a drive. Max Verstappen, huevos grande, to drive that car to second place after crashing it on his way to the grid. That, my friends, is a racer. Keep up on our broadcasts in the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. This show, whichever version we wind up getting on air and online tonight, will be uploaded on the site. Catch up with me on social media. On Facebook, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds and Racers Reunion. On Twitter, at Speedway Report and at Speedway Pat. And our shows are at racersreunion.com in the forum. Big thanks to everyone who tuned into the live feed tonight and joined in on the conversation on Facebook. I appreciate the sound checks. I don't know where the first show went. It's the second time it happened. I'm plugging in all kinds of new equipment, and I run more testing, and it's kind of like building a new car and a new team from the ground up. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, you take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at SpeedwayPat. Now, on the Drag Racing List Facebook page right now is Drag List Live. If you want to hop over there, you will see Bill and John. I'll be back live here on Facebook Monday, July the 27th, when the latest from the High Banks Hustle in Marion, Illinois, NASCAR's National Series in Kansas, short track racing, and a whole lot more. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking around and tuning in at 8 o'clock, about 30 minutes later than normal, but we'll keep working on this, and I'll get all the plugs and whistles and wires worked out. You take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see everybody next week.